All right, let's go. All right. Let's go, Tim.
So Dad last night came over, watched the Columbus Blue Jackets and Toronto Maple Leafs.
It was a nothing game. They're satisfied to lose 3-1. 3-1, nice score. 3-1, it's not bad. And reminded me of the time Danny Gallivan and I were on, and he asked me, and I said, the only star in that period would be the Zamboni driver. And oh boy, that was the only time he ever got a letter from
Well, what did he say?
Yes, I must admit he did respond. He says, like a hobo's coat, shabby. And he got a letter too.
That's it. So that's the first time he got in trouble was with you.
The only time he got in trouble was with me.
Yeah.
It was a lousy period.
How about Matthews getting, again, 2 goals?
Yeah, I don't know.
Every time he scores, Dad always says, how does a kid from the desert score so many goals?
I don't know how does a guy that was born in the desert learn how to score goals like that. He scored. See, the one was the one from the corner. Jeez, I mean, just shut the puck.
So
Yeah.
you think it's learned a skill like
I don't
that?
know
You
what
don't
it is.
think it's hereditary?
I have given up. I've given up when I see him.
Well, he does. Remember Phil Esposito was interviewed, and Phil said, he's a pretty good goal scorer. He said,
well, I had 76 goals.
76 goals. He says it's not how hard or how accurate. It's how fast you get it off your stick. And you watch Matthews. It's not on his stick a second.
It's gone. As soon as it hits the stick, it's gone. And when he has time on the breakaway, he doesn't score.
No. But Dad, the game the other night, they were in Buffalo. And they got hammered 9-2.
I just don't understand. Well, they give up. They give up the last period. The last 10 minutes, they give up.
Yeah. So I said that you had that in Buffalo, your first game.
Oh, anyhow, we're going to play in Buffalo, and we got hammered. I think it was 8-something.
9-5.
9-5?
Yeah.
And this little guy was running around scoring goals, got a hat trick. It was Danny Gare. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I really didn't know. 8-5. And I did the stupidest thing. I sat in the back, and I heard Jilly say, well, that's for me. And average to get down. And here I am. My first game in the National Hockey League, I lose 8-5, and I get a goalie telling me his average is going to go way up.
So, Dad, big news in Ottawa. DJ Smith was fired. Jacques Martin takes over, and Daniel Alfredson's behind the bench.
Yeah, Jack Martin looks pretty good.
He looks good. Got their first win last night.
Yeah, and he looked pretty happy. I'm glad for Jack. He's been around a long time.
Yeah, but I don't think he's good. He's just kind of
he's just filling in.
Filling in.
He's filling in till the end of the season, and they'll make a move then.
Yeah. So the thing though we were watching though was interesting. You were talking about Brady Tkachuk that he got in a couple of fights last week, and some people are saying he shouldn't fight and all that. But you kind of had that with Terry because
Terry was leading the league. And leading the team and the whole deal. And they were saying, why would you have Terry O'Reilly fighting all the time? You can't take the teeth out of the bulldog. They have to fight, and this is the way they were, and that's the way you can't stop them.
So you told Brad Park not to fight.
Well, I told Brad Park, but he didn't really want to fight. And he put up a big stink and everything, but he didn't really want to fight. He said, well, what happens if a guy spares me? I said, don't worry, there'll be a guy there. And there was.
It was funny. They Ottawa won. They played Pittsburgh, and they won in overtime. They didn't start Crosby in overtime.
Yeah.
He didn't get on the ice.
I didn't. Yeah, I don't understand that one. But it is kind of strange.
So, Dad and Cindy, we just want to say spreads.ca is now northstarbets.com. It's still Canadian-owned and still one of the best places to play in Canada. They have everything you're looking for: slots, live dealer tables, sportsbook with built-in betting insights.
Anything you want.
And analysis, yep. And if you're already have an account with spreads.ca, you don't have to do anything. You just have to sign into northstarbets.com. And we got some exciting news with our friends from northstarbets.com. They're going to help out with the Don Cherry Pet Rescue Foundation, Dad, and they're going to give away one of your beauty winter jackets that you wore on Hockey Night in Canada.
Well, it's Christmas theme, and I'm very, very happy.
Yeah. So the approximate value is about $3,000. No purchase necessary. There's a skill testing requirement. You have to be 18 in Alberta, Manitoba, and Quebec, and 19 in the rest of Canada, and residents of Ontario are excluded. I don't know why, but that's what happens. Head over to northstarbets.com Instagram or on our Twitter or Rock'em Sock'em Facebook page for details on how to enter. For everybody that likes or enters the contest, northstarbets.com will give an additional $5 donation to Don Cherry's Pet Rescue.
Good.
And
These guys, they sound like they're pretty good guys.
They're good guys, and it ends January 7th. So everybody out looking for your jackets, Dad, this was one that you actually wore on Coach's Corner.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, very nice one.
Well, there you are.
Speaking of jackets, Elliot Freeman was trying to be Don Cherry the
one
second.
thing, I don't mind being fired. I don't. I really don't. It was time to go. But what gets me is somebody can wear my exact jacket and nobody says a word. Well, you look like Don Cherry. Mention my name is
well, that's taboo now.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
What do they say about imitation? It's the highest form of
well,
flattery.
anyhow,
Last week, the Boston Bruins did a great job. They did a ceremony commemorating the Lunch Pail Athletic Club. That's the Bruins that you coach, right? There was
the Lunch Pail Gang, they call it.
Lunch Pail Gang. And John Wensink was introduced to a roaring ovation.
And did he ever look good?
He never looked good, yes.
Yeah.
We said that before. And he made the Bruins top 100 players.
Well,
So, and he walked out and he center ice and he did the infamous challenge the bench like he did to Minnesota. So, do you remember that?
I remember that, and I couldn't believe it when I was looking at it. Holy shit! Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for this one, and I did.
So what brought it on? Why?
I have no idea what brought it on. What brought it on, Tim?
Well,
What did he say?
That game, so it was the game before in Minnesota. Remember, Terry got a 3-game suspension
Yeah,
for throwing
throwing the glove.
at the referee.
Yeah.
And I guess so there was a lot of expectations, and what happened was the owner or the president of Minnesota called the Bruins a bunch of barbarians and thuggery. And
Yeah, but I remember Harry coming to us. We're going to make a commercial for the Minnesota North Stars. He was a good friend with Lou Nan.
right.
So I don't know, Harry. And tagging I, no, it's only going to be shown on television.
So I found the video. So here's the audio.
Well, here's the audio.
So here's
Okay.
the audio of the commercial that you did, and it's you, John Wensink, Ricky Smith, and Julie Gilbert.
All right, here it goes.
They're so stupid. Boys, you hear who's in our division?
No, it's
The North Stars. Yeah. They're going to be tough this year. I don't believe it either, but I'll tell you one thing. They're in the iron of the league.
That's right.
Yeah, in the Adams division. Toronto and Buffalo are ready. We're ready. They better be ready, right?
Don't worry, we'll be ready. The Minnesota North Stars. Major League Hockey is back in town.
Every time we played Minnesota after that, we had fights on fights on fights and fights. And I caught Harry on Minnesota television saying, I think the words were something to this effect, that it's a shame that they don't put on a better show when they come to the Boston Gardens. Holy! It was murder after that.
I went on and looked in the newspaper, on internet, and I always thought, because Terry fought a guy named Jansen who was like an Olympic guy, and he never really got into a fight. And I think, why would Terry fight him? And what happened was that he was going around saying he was going to get Mike Milbury.
I wonder why.
I don't know. Milbury must have said something to him. 2 Americans, right? Probably
Yeah.
going at it. And, you don't say that in front of Terry O'Reilly. You're going to get another Bruin. So Terry took hands into the matter. And then this guy, Pyrrhus, I think it was, jumped in. And then John got into a fight with him.
Pyrrhus, him and Pyrrhus were always going at it.
And then John got 2-5-10 in the game. And so that's when he went over to the bench and challenged the bench.
Oh, he got kicked out of the game, eh?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
It's great, the reporters back then, because this is what the opening line in the Boston Herald was. The anarchists and the pacifists came together last night at the Boston Gardens, and for all intents and purposes, the feisty Boston Bruins had the docile Minnesota North Stars beaten after an opening 20 minutes of play, and then beat them again literally in the final 20 minutes. And Minnesota's coach said it was blatant thuggery.
The coach said that?
Yeah, it was blatant thuggery. Kevin on Twitter said, great stuff, great memories. Remember when Glenn Sommore wore a pirate patch and you threatened to put a bucket over your head, and you were standing on the bench at the Met Center after taking credit with the attendance was announced as the largest crowd ever at the Met. So that was the rematch, and you sold out the Met Center in Minnesota.
You should have had more of those things.
You had a lot of problems with Minnesota even before then. Remember Henry Bouchard and Davey Ford?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when they had the benches like this on one side.
Yeah, Minnesota was one of the first rinks to have the benches on both sides and then the penalty boxes on the other side, like they do now. Because before they used to be the benches used to be on opposite sides.
I'll tell you how stupid they were. And they had guys cross that center ice, and that's when Davey Forbes and Henry Bouchard.
Then you had the time, we talked about the time Minnesota, Schmatzy had too much to drink and he was a little hungover and it was an afternoon game and you played him to death.
I remember that. It's plain as day. That I saw Schmatzy in the bar and he was drinking hard stuff. And I said, Schmatzy, don't ruin things now. Don't ruin things. Oh, no, I can handle this. So he came in that night. And I didn't like anything that happened in the hotel. And he broke the crepe. What do you call them? The crepe?
A crepe pan.
Yeah, a crepe pan. Broke that. And $1,500 they charged him. And boy, was I mad at him. So I started him in the game, and I just kept playing him and playing him and playing.
Because the next day was an afternoon game.
Yeah.
So while most coaches would bench him or not dress him or fine him and all that, you go the other way.
I went the other way. And I remember Donnie Marcotte saying to me, he says, you're going to kill him. I said, God, I hope he dies.
Because, Tim, weren't you on the bench?
No, that was
No,
Minnesota.
it was another time?
No, because I remember it was late in the game, and I think we were up by a goal or it was tied.
And he blocked a shot. He blocked a shot, killing a penalty. And
you had him killing penalties, too.
Everything.
Power play,
everything,
killing penalties, regular shift,
he was puking at the end of the bench and everything.
He blocked a shot and had a breakaway.
He had a breakaway, and he went in and he scored, and he fell. He fell in the corner. And the players had to go and help him, pick him up. And Fred Cusick and Johnny Pearson said, I think he's hurt.
Yeah, we think Schmatz hurt his knee because they were like literally had him under both arms and dragging him.
I said, Schmatz up, but I didn't. I never said a word to him after that. But he never ever drank that hard stuff again.
Then the one time too, you were saying after there was a game, and I think you said you lost to Minnesota. You had to walk from the rink. You had to walk across the parking lot to the hotel, and it was like minus 30 out.
Well, I was walking out late, and there was this woman there standing there with the young boy, and I said, "What's the problem?" And she says, "I can't get into my car." I said, "She says the keys are in the car."
Locked her keys in her car.
Locked the keys in the car. So I didn't have my heavy coat on. So I went over and fooled around with the car, and I finally got it open. She didn't even say thanks, now that I think of it. Did I ever catch a cold? Oh, boy. And everything happens in Minnesota.
And it all started from that commercial.
And it all started, and we were having an easy time up until that commercial.
Dad and City, we'd like to thank our sponsor, VintageTendy Magazine, a magazine for goalies by goalies. Great quality, fantastic pictures. One of the highest quality magazines you'll find out there.
It's like a coffee magazine almost.
Well, like a coffee book, yep. So visit VintageTendy Magazine or visit their Facebook page. And they're having a Boxing Day New Year special. If you use the promo GRAPES24, you'll get 10% off a 1-year subscription. Again, it's a magazine of the highest quality, approximately 60 full-color high-gloss pages in each issue. And if you are interested, visit Vintage Lives Here to subscribe with the promo GRAPES24, and that goes to the 28th. And I think if you have a man cave or a goalie in your life,
you should get it.
Great magazine. So, Dad, we got a question from Orca fan.
Orca, oh.
So, he must be a Vancouver fan. It says, Grapes, The way the Canucks are playing, do you think they have a shot at winning the cup?
Well, I don't know, Tim. They won't get rid of Rick Tocchet very soon. First base, same club.
Yeah,
basically. Well, Bo Horvath gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bo Horvath gone.
That says something, doesn't it, about how he contributed to the team?
Well,
they call that adding by subtraction.
Oh, very clever.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
But the way they're playing now, who's going to beat them?
Well, they've got lots of zing now, and I can't believe that a team could go from out of the playoffs and to almost first spot.
They are first spot, right?
It just shows you what Rick Tocchet can do to you.
Yeah, but you got, Miller is third in scoring, and the big thing with that, look at, they're all high pluses. You know what I mean? Like, you hate to say, you look at McDavid and Draisaitl, they got a lot of points, but they're not high pluses, right?
Yeah.
But Miller is third in scoring. He's plus 12. Quinn Hughes leads all defensemen in scoring, and he's plus 25. Elise Pettersson, he's 10th in scoring with 41 points. He's plus 11. And Brock Besser, he's second in the league in goals, and he's plus 11. So,
well, they don't fool around, and you can score a lot of goals and still be a minus, but not with Rick Tocchet.
No, and of course, show me a good coach, and I'll show you a good goalie, right?
Show me a good goalie, and I'll show you a good coach.
That's right. And
I know.
Demko's in the league, second in the league, and 2.4 GAA. So.
And he's playing well.
So, Dad, Winnipeg keeps rolling along?
Yeah, Rick Bonus keeps rolling them along, and remember the time he got cut in Ottawa?
Oh, that was
blood?
unbelievable. Talk about a tough guy.
And he didn't leave the bench.
And he didn't leave the bench
Kept
either.
on coaching, his blood all over him, got hit with a puck coming into the bench.
So, did you ever get hit with a puck?
I got hit with the puck in the elbow and many places during the season. And the worst I ever had was the guys jumping over the bench, and I had my foot on them and cut my foot. I never forgot that.
With the skate?
Yeah, with the skate. And I was being sick to my stomach, and the guys were laughing over in the corner.
Yeah, that sounds about
That's
right.
like sounds like right about a hockey player, right?
Yeah.
So, Dad, this time is always the World Juniors we watched last night.
Yep.
But I'll tell you, that was a good game last night.
It's a better game than Hockey Night in Canada.
Yeah, it was Canada-U.S., an exhibition game. Boy, they were going at it pretty good.
They were going at it pretty good, and it was an exhibition game.
Yeah, Canada lost 6-5. But, it's always fun to watch that. That's the one thing I really enjoyed about scouting with you was we would watch these kids, right? And then they're 15, and then like 3 years later, they would be the big news in the World Juniors.
Yeah. I remember watching Marner, and I said he's the smartest guy in the whole league. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And he got the tying goal with 6 seconds to go. I never forgot that.
Playing for Don Mills. He had to be 5'4".
He used to have his sweater, and the only reason he had it tucked in was because it was too big for him.
So this is Sunday morning, Christmas Eve, and when Cindy, you and I were growing up, Christmas Eve meant that Dad was going away.
Dad was going away, and you know why? Because it's mostly in Rochester. The Ice Capades used to come in. Remember that?
I can't remember, but I guess I was. Tim, you.
Well, I looked and I said, "Where did Dad go?" So the year I was born, 1963, Christmas Day, you were in Providence, so you must have left the day. You must have left Christmas Eve, right?
Leave the day before.
Right. And then 1964, you played in Buffalo Christmas Day. 1965, you played in Pittsburgh Christmas Day.
That was way a lot.
And then when you were coaching in 1971, you played Christmas Day, you were in Cleveland, and then Boxing Day, you played in Hershey. So you drove from Cleveland, Ohio to Hershey, Pennsylvania.
In those days, it didn't mean a thing. Just get on the bus and just travel away. And the worst part of it is they used to stop halfway. What a joke that was.
So, Cindy, didn't Mom, I don't remember it too much, but Mom used to invite the single guys over, right, for Christmas
Yeah,
dinner?
that's right. I mean, it was always an occasion. Whenever we had Christmas dinner, all the single guys would come, or even some of the players that were married.
Mark Reume was out. I remember Mark Reume. What a great guy he was. He was my defense partner when Daryl Sy left. And he says, I noticed all the girls are from Hershey are short and dumpy. I said, yeah, Rose is from Hershey. Oh. He almost died. Right on the spot.
Because he wasn't like that. He was this quiet guy.
Oh, he was a quiet guy, and he was a great guy. And
I remember one time when you were coaching, I do remember John Wensink, who we were just talking about.
Yeah, John Wensink and Gary Braden and Gary Smith.
Boy, Mom must have made a big turkey.
Wow, yeah. We really
those
had
guys
feasts.
they could chow it down pretty good.
Well, as I said, this is Christmas Eve, and Dad and Tim, there's a lot of hockey tournaments going on, and I just think it's wonderful how all the parents, very dedicated, they got to schedule their time around the scheduling of when their kids were their little hockey players. So I want to wish them all good luck and spending time in the rinks and that
Merry
coffee
Christmas.
and everything and the whole deal.
Yeah.
So Merry Christmas to them all. And
Yeah, there's a big tournament in Toronto called the Toronto Marlies Holiday Tournament. There's 100 teams.
oh, yeah.
Imagine that. So 100 teams times 20 players plus coaches and parents. Every hotel room and everything, restaurant is booked solid
Well,
for
all
the
I
next.
think about is their bloody parking at that Etobicoke ice park.
yeah.
Oh, it is a nightmare to find. All I think of the parking spaces are hard to find during tournaments.
And they say that hockey is not as popular as it used to be.
Well, that's what we say. If it's any more popular, they're going to need to get bigger parking lots.
For sure.
And I wish everybody a happy new year and a merry, merry, merry Christmas.